What's going on, everyone? Bran here, about to give you the bloody breakdown, and today we're going to be talking about two franchises that there's been a couple of rumblings about recently after hearing nothing from them for over a decade at this point. I believe we're talking about 2022 is the year now. We haven't seen a Freddy film since 2010, a Jason film since 2009. Well, we're going to do a little update here, and hopefully it'll work out the way it did with Scream, because I did a little Scream update years ago talking about, are we ever going to see a Scream 5? And within a couple of months, there was news we would see a Scream 5. Now that we have it, I'm hoping that same effect is going to rub off onto this video. So let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about this for a minute, because a lot of this stuff came up in a recent Q&A with Jason Blum of Blumhouse Pictures. Brian asks on Twitter, will you ever make a run at Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street to update them like Halloween? Jason Blum responded, have been trying to make both for years, can't get rights. So, let's kind of dig into that for a minute, because first off, that's confirmation. I mean, we probably didn't need confirmation. I'm sure that most of us who follow this stuff realize that Jason Blum really would like to get his hands on a lot of these properties and give them new films. We've seen him do it with Halloween. We've seen it with Candyman. We've seen it, with a lot of different things that he wants to get his hands on, has or is trying to. So it's one of those things where I think that both franchises are really going through a lot behind the scenes. I definitely buy that he isn't able to get the rights as of this moment, and I buy that he's been trying to do it. So let's talk about Friday the 13th real quick, because this is one that, to be perfectly honest with you, it has been absolutely ridiculous. So I'll take you back to Twitter on this one, where a couple of weeks ago, Larry Zerner, who is a lawyer who you may recognize from the Friday the 13th franchise, who tweeted out recently, like I said, this was about 2 weeks ago. He says, it's 4 p.m. and I still don't see a cert petition filed with the Supreme Court in the Friday the 13th case. What does this mean? Well, it means the case is officially over and Victor Miller owns the rights to his screenplay in Friday the 13th, but only in the United States. He goes on to say, does this mean that parties have settled or are close to settling and a new movie is forthcoming? Not necessarily. It could just mean that Sean Cunningham realized that a cert petition was a real long shot and didn't want to waste his money. However, the fact that he didn't file a cert petition makes it very slightly more likely that the parties are working out a resolution, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Can Victor and Sean just each make their own separate movies? Not really, because Victor only owns U.S. rights and only to the first script, and Sean owns adult hockey mask wielding Jason, but can't legally use him in a movie without Victor's permission. It's complicated. Hey, you don't say, Larry. Finally, he says, hopefully we will hear some good news in the future. In the meantime, this Friday is Sean's 80th birthday, so everyone please wish Sean a very happy birthday. No trolling. And we will see what 2022 brings. Happy New Year, everyone. So that's an update straight from the horse's mouth. Larry has been covering this case and updating us on Twitter for years now, it seems like. So big shout out to Larry Zerner for that. So that's kind of where we are with the Friday the 13th deal right now. There's just so much going on. It's so convoluted in its court case between Victor Miller, the original film's writer, and Sean Cunningham, the director of the original film and producer of pretty much the entire franchise. Now, kind of on the other end of the spectrum, we're almost dealing with something similar in Nightmare on Elm Street, where the writing credits reverted back to Wes Craven's estate. And as far as I know, I've heard no updates since then. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with that as well, but the reason I say it's a similar thing is because I believe it's 35 years, these writing credits, the rights are reverting back to the original writers of these films. And they do deserve credit, they do deserve rights in some shape, way, form, or fashion, I'll agree with that. it is definitely screwing up the possibility of us getting further installments in both of these franchises. And that's unfortunately the point where we're at. You see Blumhouse out here chomping at the bit to get their hands on one of these franchises. I'm sure that Spyglass would love to get their hands on it, considering they've handled the new Scream. They're handling the new Hellraiser. There are a lot of companies out there, production companies, distribution companies that I'm sure would love to get their hands on these properties, considering that horror, and more specifically slasher horror, is really a hot commodity right now. Halloween has kicked ass at the box office in 2018, becoming the most successful slasher film of all time financially. You have Halloween Kills that did amazingly well, especially considering it was streaming at the same time it was released. You now have Scream out in theaters that's made, $30 to $50 million in its 4-day opening weekend. It's definitely the case that slasher horror is a hot commodity again. It's coming back into the ether. People want to see this. And unfortunately for Freddy and Jason, we're at a point in time right now where it could be one of the most lucrative times for those characters and those franchises to come back. But due to court cases, due to legalities, unfortunately, it just doesn't look like it's anywhere near happening. Now, will this happen? Yes, I think eventually we will definitely get another Freddy film, another Jason film. I think eventually all parties in these scenarios are going to see the dollar signs. And they're going to see that there's money to be made here. And I think some of them are probably even going to think about the fans and the fact that fans like me, fans like you would absolutely love to see possibilities for these franchises going forward. You have to think, the last time we got a Freddy or a Jason film, we were in the midst of that remake, I guess, craze, for lack of a better term. And now we've kind of entered into something different, where they're doing these legacy sequels, or requels, I guess is the new terminology after the Scream film, where they're, let's just start from this point and work our way here. Let's do something new and fresh and different. And, I think that honestly, if we were to get a Freddy or a Jason film at this juncture, it would be something that would be vastly heads and shoulders above what we got from the last entries. Now, I think the Last Friday film is definitely better than the Last Nightmare film, but, low bars, let's just say that. So that's kind of where we are, folks. We're at a point in time right now where it would be great financially, and for all of us fans, if these companies could release something new. But unfortunately, things are tied up in court. Things are tied up in different scenarios where it's going to be a while before we see these films on the big screen again. But I do believe it will happen. And once again, I made a video just like this for the Scream franchise a couple of years back, and right after that, we discovered we were getting something new. So fingers crossed, let's hope I can work this magic again and bring some new Freddy and Jason films to the forefront, because I got to tell you, in this era we're in now, those guys are sorely, sorely missing. We've got Ghostface Michael, Chucky, Candyman, Hellraiser, Evil Dead, Texas Chainsaw, but no Nightmare, no Friday. And I'll be goddamned if it isn't depressing as fuck. So let me know what you all think down below in the comments section below. While you're there, leave this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already. And if you really want to support this channel, share this video, share my content, or even perhaps become a channel member by clicking that join button. So with that said, I'm Bren, and you just got the Bloody Breakdown.